How does that
No,
look?
I'm not saying that. You get some sense that there's a handful of stocks.
Look at that. I mean, you could tie that to the market. Bang.
There he is. You got your Christmas tie on today. Yeah, you're looking
I,
sharp.
I do. I got the red thing going, red couch behind me. I'm feeling festive.
Is that couch leather, by the way? Is that the leather, like the famed leather couch? What's
No,
that made out of?
no, that's fair. No, I think it's more like a crushed velvet, if I may.
Is it velour?
No, it's not like your vest. It's not velour. I said again, sort of a crushed velvet. It's nice feel to it.
Is that like the place you settle in for the holiday movie or whatever? I mean, what do you do on that couch?
I've been relegated to the basement. That couch is sort of where the kids sort of hang out. The weekend parties with their friends. I don't know what they called that when I was a kid, but that's sort of the couch that the kids hang on.
All right, so with your red tie and your couch to kind of settle in, it's probably not a bad time to identify that it's a big birthday out there for a holiday favorite. It's Rudolph's 57th birthday. How's that make you feel?
The
Old, huh?
the granddaddy of them all, Rankin Bass, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I could watch it on a loop.
But by the way, you and Rudolph, I think, are exactly the same. No, you're a year younger than Rudy at this point.
I'm going to be fit. So I was born in 1963.
Three.
Rudolph,
Oh,
1964. So I actually predate. I've been around for the entire lifespan of the Rudolph Red-Nosed
so
Reindeer.
you're kind of like an older brother to Rudy. By the way, I mean, so Rudolph at this point is I guess he'd be like an old buck. What do you call a young male deer? I bet you don't even know this.
No, I don't. I know a doe, I believe. Obviously, a doe would be
That,
the young
Clarice?
female deer. Clarice
Yeah,
was the doe.
a very lovely Clarice. No, I mean Rudolph was a fawn, and of course,
Not to
when
be
I
confused with Fawn Leibowitz,
well,
obviously, which I know that's where you're going.
famous fawns for 100, Jack. I think you either have Fawn Leibowitz, folks of Animal House fame. Check that out. Then, of course, you have maybe possibly the more controversial Fawn Hall, if you remember, I mean, the Iran-Contra, Ollie North, the secretary. Anyway, again, for another one. So, all right, so Rudolph, we love talking about our holiday classics, and it is one. But clearly, the whole story around Rudolph is something that I think every one of us at one point or another has felt like we should be on the land of misfit toys. And as we think about markets, I mean, clearly there are a number of companies that I think, whether it's over the last couple of years, have realized that they might just be a spotted elephant or a choo-choo train with square wheels, are either companies that have no longer make sense, whose business line doesn't make sense, their reason for being doesn't make sense.
Charlie in the Box, a water pistol that shoots, I believe it was grape
Ink?
jelly, just a lot of
Oh,
things going on there, which
right.
obviously all run by King Moonracer. Great character. I think they should have used King Moonracer more in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But that's me. I'm just putting it out there. I'll say
By the
this.
way, what was King Moon? Oh no, he was the lion who was
Sure.
overseeing his kingdom. What was wrong with him? I don't even remember about King
No,
Moonracer. What
there was
made him?
nothing wrong with it. Was I think he was actually one of the more benevolent characters in Rudolph. He took all these toys in and they lived in his kingdom. He
Ah,
was hoping that at some point Santa would come on his sleigh and take these toys to be part of some good little young woman or young boy's holiday, and it subsequently did happen. So I think Moonracer is one of the heroes of Rudolph.
well, and of all the people that were setting out to go to the land of misfit toys, and again, it was really our favorite triumvirate of Rudolph, Hermie, and Yukon Cornelius.
Sure.
I think it was probably even Yukon who was the strangest bird of them all, but that's probably for another show. So, all right, so companies out there that either belong in the land of misfit toys, I'm going to throw out there Mattel. So, literally a toy company that I think lost its way, although apparently Barbie's making a comeback in all new forms. And I think their ability to find themselves in a digital format, I think, still missing. And then of course there's Sony, who the Sony Walkman, the Laser disc, the Sony TV, the Trinitron. I mean, What has Sony done in the last 40 years that anybody really is paying attention to today? Those are my key members of the Land of Misfit Toys.
I love what you're doing with Sony there. You know, when I was in high school, I remember getting on the bus to a basketball game, and one of the guys on the team walked in with this apparatus on his head and holding it in his hand. I'd never seen it before. It was one of the first Sony Walkman, and back in the early '80s, you
that was
literally
probably $400. That device.
no doubt, no doubt. And knowing this young man, it probably was at least $400. He was from the wealthier section of Croton on the Hudson. But I mention that because you couldn't turn around without walking into a Sony product. And by the way, I recently got rid of a Sony Trinitron. The television must have weighed
as
400 pounds.
As it was deep, right? Like, how did you need a crane to forklift that thing out of your house? I mean, those things were big.
Basically, I did it on my own. You know, I still
I'm not
have some of that.
You didn't do it on your own.
Old man.
Look, you've got some strong sons. Come on. You're probably getting up off that couch and saying, you know what? Hey, fellas, come here. Let's get rid of this big ol'. And you didn't do it by yourself. I mean, sorry.
Not to bring in another holiday movie, but I'm sort of like the Winter Warlock. I still have a couple of magic beans left, and I used one of those magic beans to get the TV out. But I'll give you my two unloved, misunderstood, let's say, companies. I'll throw an IBM at you, which literally hasn't been relevant in the last decade or so. The world has passed them by. They made an acquisition a few years ago. We'll see if that pays dividends. And the other one in the bank world is Citibank, which is just really on just nobody seems to love Citibank right now.
All right. Citibank, I get the fact that, we don't walk down to the branch with our passbook or our savings account or our Christmas club. This is still arguably one of the biggest, most dominant global institutions. If you think about their footprint around the world, why can't Citibank, in a world where technology and the leapfrog of technology, why can't they be a player especially in other parts of the world where people might not ever even have that account that they walk into a Citibank for, but provide the technology, provide the infrastructure? I think they can do it.
It's interesting you say that. Now, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but there's a line in Rudolph. It's a brilliant line, I think, and a lot of people maybe just sort of,
course it is,
sneak past it. But, Hermie and Rudolph were together, and they said, they both wanted to be independent. And they said, why can't we be independent together? Think about that. There's a genius there. Yeah, deep, right?
Well, I mean, I think, on some level, that's exactly what we are. We are independent together. And I know at some point we're going to put one foot in front of the other and walk on out of here. But on the way out, I think, give me your top 3 holiday specials of all time. And of the two, Citibank or Mattel, who's the biggest misfit?
I think in terms of stocks, I think it's Citibank. Mattel still has some relevance, it seems. Citi, the stock has lost its way. My favorite holiday movies, listen, Year Without a Santa Claus is right up there, no doubt. Miracle on 34th Street. I mean, It's a Wonderful Life. And Die Hard, obviously, is everybody's favorite holiday movie.
And not a Christmas movie. I'm going to have to go with Elf, is sneaking right in there, too, along with the old classics. Seller of Frosty. In fact, I think Frosty and IBM, probably get parachuted in off of Santa's sleigh this year. And ultimately, I'm gonna go the Santa Claus. I think that's Tim Allen, and grudgingly funny. Tim Allen was one of those guys who had more dad jokes, probably still has more dad jokes than my dad. But somehow I find myself snickering. But I'm not snickering at you or your red tie. Great to talk holiday movies and companies that belong on the Land of Misfit Toys. But you know where we belong every night?
Reach TV. Catch us in the airports, restaurants, bars, lounges. We'll be there. That's Tim Seymour. I'm Guy Adami. And as Tim mentioned, we are.
Commercial break.